Hi. I would like to share a few thoughts on faith. I'm not someone who is an expert on faith. So probably if you read a Kenneth Hagin book or something like that, you can have amazing revelations on faith. But I have a few thoughts on my mind that God's been trying to import to me in the last few weeks, and that's what I would like to tell you as well. God has been telling me a lot about like what He would like to do with my channel and my vlogging, or with the art stuff I'm doing, and I had to face the fact that I don't really have the faith for all those things. Like, He's telling me all these great ideas, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. Hope so. And I felt a bit of condemnation, like, oh, I don't even have the faith for it. Like, how can it happen if I can't even believe it? Like, and that's when I felt like Jesus was telling me, like, I don't want to bless you based on your faith. I want to bless you based on my faith. Like, you think that I'm limited to how much faith you feel or think? I want to bless you based on my faith. And it's crazy that we think about faith as a spiritual law, which is, we just like consider it a principle in the spirit realm that works every way. Like, it works with positive thinking, it works with coaching, it works with that, with all the aspects of life. It works in entrepreneurship, and we make faith impersonal, and it is a force and law in itself. But faith is way much more than that. Like, faith has light brown hair and glowing eyes, and he is sitting next to you with his arm on your shoulder and telling you, like, I have enough faith for you. I am faith. Let me introduce myself to you. A lot of times I feel the pressure of collecting enough faith so that God could bless me, as if I could hinder God with my doubt. And of course, I can hinder myself and I can prevent myself receiving blessings if I don't believe I can get them. But thinking that I won't receive something because I don't feel enough faith in my mind or in my heart is a lie. Like, I can trust that Jesus, who is in me and with me, has enough faith, and I can borrow his. Like, it's great when faith is like overtaking my mind and emotions, but I don't need to wait for that to happen to expect God to move in my life. Like, now the things that God has shown me, like all the crazy things He's about to do with me and with ministry and all that, I came to realize that I don't really have the faith for it. Like, I don't feel it. I can't even agree with it in my mind. And I felt like Jesus says, it's fine. I believe it. I'm the author and finisher of your faith. You don't need to develop your own faith. You can use mine. And remember when Jesus says to the disciples, like, if you had faith as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Like, Jesus basically says, like, if you had a little bit of it, you could do anything. You could go through walls, fly, you could do whatever. And basically, you don't have any faith. Like, let's face it, you're completely bankrupt. And that's what I realized in the last few weeks, that I can't sense faith in myself. Like, I can have this faith of like, yeah, it might happen, but not this precision of like, oh, undoubtedly it will happen. It is impossible not to happen. Like, I don't have it. And I was afraid, like, oh, if I can't have this conviction in my mind, that I prevent God from blessing me. And then I realized that it's such a lie. Like, I can trust in Him who has all the faith in the world, and I can trust His faith instead of mine. And I'm no way against feeling faith or thinking faith. And it's great when faith just overwhelms all of your soul. But it's great when you don't trust your faith. It's great when you can trust the faith, the person of faith. The trick in making faith unpersonal is that you need to get enough of it. You need to accumulate it. You need to hit a certain standard instead of trusting someone who has it all. And in the last few weeks, I just felt like I need to take those steps. And it would require a lot of faith, and I don't have any. I'm just gonna make those steps, trusting that the guy living in me knows what he's doing, and he will have my back. And it was crazy because when I took those steps, it was glorious, and it was obvious that I could receive all the fruits of the faith he had, and I didn't. Like, I can continuously reap the harvest of his work, reap the harvest of his faith. Like, I went in with no faith, trusting that he would have faith for it, and then I received all the blessings of his faith. So I think there is such a freedom in trusting in Him rather than in my belief. And it's not always like contradictory, but it can be. When I say that, okay, God cannot bless me because I don't have enough faith, then it's contradictory, because He would like us to have faith in Him, in relationship with Him, not just to know the mechanism of the spiritual law. And you can know the mechanism of the spiritual law of faith, and it would work for you. There's nothing wrong about it. But there are situations when you just can't do that. You don't feel it. You can't think it. And in those situations you can still trust Him. And actually, I absolutely recommend not trusting your faith, even if you do have. Because it's way less pressure trusting his faith. Like, you don't need to check your faith level, whether I have enough for God to bless me. I can absolutely quit thinking about my faith as a requirement for anything from God. And I can just trust in the one who has the whole faith. Like in Jesus, the fullness of God dwells in me. Like, that's quite a lot of God. So I can trust in that. At one point, Jesus just told me that, do you believe that I love you enough and I'm good enough to bless you no matter how little faith you have? And I'm gonna shock you how improportionate my blessing will be comparing to your faith. And yeah, that's all. It happened last week, that I just took a step, and not because I had faith. I just took it because there was no other option. And I was like almost panicking. Like, it was not in faith. Like, trust me, not in my mind and in my feelings faith. It was like, I hope you will show up. And he came and he showed up. Faith is way much deeper in you than your feelings and emotions and thoughts. He's so deep, he's one with you. Like, the faith as the person is one with you. It's so much deeper than how much your mind is convinced that something would happen. And it can be a deception to limit the blessings of God to your level of faith. Nowadays, I just think about impossible things as, he's gonna do it because he's that kind. And that's it. I'm starting to realize that the greatest expression of faith is simple chill and rest. And so much rest that it looks like you don't even care. Like, I absolutely rest, like, if it is done and I don't even have any more thoughts about it, because number one, I can't solve it. Number two, the one who can solve it all lives in me, and he's more interested in solving it than I am. So I look like I don't care, because actually I don't care anymore about all my efforts and solutions and ideas. And I think that I have someone who cares way much more than I could ever care. And I just outsource the caring part to him. Like, you are way much better in caring for things than I am. So yeah, it looks like I don't care because I don't care, but I don't care because I know that there is someone who cares. Like, it's not because I'm not interested. I am interested. I just know that it is solved and it is in good hands. So I don't need to strive for it and and do it on my own. And sometimes, because when we say that you don't have enough faith, that's why God cannot bless you, we try to like develop faith or pump up faith or try to make our minds and emotions reach the level of faith that is required for the blessing. And actually, it's the opposite of faith. Like, now you are trusting in what you do and not in Him. Like, when you believe in your belief, like, it's not a belief in Him, it's a belief in yourself and in your efforts to pump up enough faith. And that's a dead-end street. Like, how much faith is enough? And I have felt, not that often, but it has already happened a few times, when I felt almost complete faith about something. Like, I was praying for a guy, and one leg was shorter a few centimeters than the other, and I was so sure that the leg would grow that I didn't even need to check it, because I knew that it became whole. I felt like the leg was stretching in my hands, and I knew that it was happening. Like, I felt like I don't even need to check it out, but I was very excited. I wanted to check it, because I was so excited that if I open my eyes, I'm gonna see what I know. And I opened my eyes, and the leg was whole, and the person could walk just fine, and it was amazing. And I wasn't surprised, because I was so sure that it would happen. And it was great, because all my emotions and thoughts were in agreement with faith, with Mr. Faith. And it was great. But the lie that can just sneak in after such an experience is that for something to happen, you need to reach that level of faith. And every level of faith is complete, because it's not yours, it's His. And it can help you when you realize it more, or you become more aware of it. And it's very powerful when it overwhelms you, but it's still not the requirement for God's blessing. Sometimes we experience great things from God when we believe, because that's when we are open to receive it. But you can be open to receive God's blessings absolutely independent from how much faith you feel or think. That's what I'm practicing now. I feel like I don't have faith, and I'm just like, but you do, so I'm gonna rest anyway. I'm trusting your faith. It's cheeky, but I don't care. Actually, it's not cheeky from heaven's perspective. Like, the angels are looking down, and finally someone gets it. Like, yeah, it's all about Jesus, not how much feelings or positive thoughts they can gather. And I'm all for positive thoughts and faithful feelings full of faith. But I can trust in something way much more reliable than them, and it is Jesus, and it's so great. Then I don't need to base my life on how much faith I can develop in myself. So yeah, there was a situation when I experienced this full faith thing. I don't always have it. Actually, I have this experience quite rarely, to be honest. That's it. That's where I'm at. And the good news for me is that I don't need to wait until this emotional state becomes my everyday experience for God to bless me. Yeah. And I'm so excited about it because there's so many crazy things God is telling me, and I don't have faith for any of it. Like, I know that somehow it might happen, or it could happen, or it is in God's heart, so He will find a way to make it happen. But all I can tell Him is that, okay, yeah, you are good enough and you love me enough to do these things, and I trust your love for me. I trust your goodness, and I can't trust my level of faith though. And He says it's fine. It's okay. I have faith for you. I have faith instead of you. You can borrow faith from me in any amount. Yeah, so that's what's going on in my mind about faith. He's so good and so loving and so kind. We can trust His person. Like, we have way much more than a spiritual law. There is a living guy, okay? I have someone, I live with. He's way much better than a machine that works properly. Like, I don't need to become a master of operating the faith machine. Like, the guy who invented the machine is my husband, It's just so much power, He can trick the system anytime I want to. And He loves me. And He wants to. So, basically, yeah, I can trick the whole system anytime. I can ask Him to believe for me. I can ask Him to do the things for me. I can trust anytime that He would do my part. Like, we always think about, what's my part? I don't know what's my part, but I have delegated my part to Him. And He's so good at it. Like, I don't even consider taking it back. And it's so much freedom. Like, you can be a silly girl in the middle of Hungary with zero regular income, and you can have this thought that I'm doing God's work, and He's faithful, and He loves me enough to do everything He has told me to do. And yeah, it's the level of a 3-year-old. And it doesn't sound like a very faith, strong faith. It's a simple leaning on Him. And yeah, it feels like leaning back and saying, you have all that is required for your promises to come true. And no matter what's my part in the whole system, I give all my parts to you. And I know that you are good at fulfilling them. And I'm trusting you, the author and finisher of my faith. And I'm trusting your faith. And you have so much of it that it's okay for me to have none of it. we are so one that it's not a problem that I don't have my own. I can use yours anytime I want to and any amount I want to. So, that's it. The greatest expression of faith is you leaning on Him. Leaning back and delegating the whole process to Him. Like, you're good at it. Why should I try to make it good? Because you can't do it good from the first step. Like, why should I mess in it? What I do is always like obvious because it looks messy and not that easy and not that good. But when you do it, it looks awesome. So I try to start with your faith instead of mine. And yeah, maybe it looks like you don't care. But the question is why you don't care. Because you're ignorant, or you're in denial, or you just know that the deal is done, the issue is settled, there's someone to take care for the whole thing. Yeah. So if you want to express some faith, lean back and think about how good He is and how much His love is enough to make all His promises come true. Amen.